2006, we were at the center of the $700 million renovations to Kauffman and Arrowhead stadiums, both delivered on time and most importantly delivered on budget to rave reviews. Most recently, we've been tasked with, as the landlord, to negotiate the leases and the development agreements for both the Chiefs and the Royals. While the task has been daunting, it hasn't stopped us from continuing to perform our normal role of preparing the complex for the Royals opening day, my 19th, and working with the Kansas City Chiefs on their efforts to deliver a world-class World Cup in 2026. We're here today to execute the leases and the development agreements because of the efforts of a great number of people. My board is all here who have been instrumental in this entire process. Sean Foster, who will speak in just a minute, Brad Scott, Pastor John Modest Miles, Mark Bredemeyer, and John Mulvihill. Obviously, you've seen a lot of lawyers up here getting documents signed. I know that Mark Brooks and I have spent an enormous amount of time with lawyers, so we'll apologize in advance for our temperament as it is right now. The Royals Council has been instrumental, the Chiefs Council has been instrumental, and certainly the county legislators, those that are with us today, have been absolutely important to the process. I want to take just a minute to introduce my board chair, Sean Foster. I think single-handedly one of the most influential people on this particular process has been Sean. His patience, his tenacity, his absolute unwillingness to fail have driven this process forward. The only problem with that tenacity has been the fact that my wife believes that I've spoken more to Sean than I have her over the last 8 months. So my 40th wedding anniversary trip has gotten a lot more expensive at the end of next month. So again, Sean Foster, Chairman of the Jackson County Sports Complex Authority.
Thank you, Jim, and good afternoon. I want to join Jim in thanking everyone for attending here. As most of you are aware, the Jackson County Sports Complex Authority has been working for the last 12 to 14 months with the County Executive's Office, the County Councilor, the County Legislature, Outside Stadium Transaction Council, the Chiefs, and the Royals to negotiate leases for the Truman Sports Complex and the future home of the Kansas City Royals baseball stadium. How did we get here today? It has been a process, and that's a term that I'll use a lot today. As some of you may know or not know, the Jackson County Sports Authority historically has always been the authority that enters into the leases with the teams. At the beginning of the process, County Executive Frank White informed the authority that he would like to take the lead in the negotiations. Early on, process was made, but unfortunately, there became a period where the progress was not being made. At that point in February of this year, the county legislature passed resolution number 21525, which specifically requested that the authority move forward with the negotiations. We've moved forward with the process, and as today, we're excited to announce that we have reached an agreement with the teams that will keep the teams in Jackson County for decades. The agreements are complex documents consisting of the following: 2 leases and a development agreement for each team. The first lease covers the period between now and when the Royals vacate Harry S. Truman Sports Complex. The second covers the period following the move. What has been our highest priority has always been to protect the county by limiting its exposure to the 3/8 sales tax, as was done with the 2006 lease, which has worked very well for the past 18 years. We have tried to follow the 2006 model wherever possible so that the leases simply represent an extension of the leases with no tax increases. Some of the highlights have been provided to you. I'll go through a few of them right now. There'll be no tax increase, a 25-year commitment from the Chiefs, and a 40-year commitment from the Royals to stay in Jackson County. County financial exposure capped at revenues produced by the 3/8 sales tax. Continued oversight of the stadiums and the revenues flowing to the teams by the Sports Authority. No county responsibility for cost overruns. All maintenance and repair of the stadiums are the responsibility of the teams. The teams will bear the cost of demolition of Kauffman Stadium. The new leases provide additional financial benefits to the residents of Jackson County. The teams will forego the park levy they currently receive, providing approximately $3.5 million annually to Jackson County. The team will also fund insurance coverage for the county-owned stadiums, which the county now funds, saving approximately $1.5 million annually. Together, the new lease enhancements will benefit the Jackson County residents by approximately $5 million annually. We want to stress as the authority, the 2006 lease agreements worked great for the authority and the teams, and the new leases are even going to be better for the residents. In closing, Jim's already stated, I want to thank the law firm of Rouse, Fritz, White, Goss, Gentile Rhodes for all the work that they've done during this process. I want to specifically thank Mike White for his daily leadership in the process, and Nep Weisefels, Ryan Cook, Fred Crouch, Kimberly Spies, Matt Webster, Mike Tallboy, and Mark Coulter for their time, commitment, work, and insight. As you can see, there's approximately been 10 attorneys working about 18 hours a day for the last 3 months. I also want to thank the Chiefs organization, specifically Mark Donovan, and the Royals organization, specifically Brooke Sherman, for their professionalism and patience in the last year while working through this process. I want to stress that they were given numerous opportunities to walk away from this process, and sometimes I wouldn't have blamed them if they did. And instead, they've worked through the process with the authority to stay in Jackson County, Missouri for decades. I also want to thank the Jackson County Legislature for having the belief in the authority and for working with us to keep the teams in Jackson County. I believe we have some legislatures here today. I see Manny, Duran, who I speak to on a daily basis. I see Sean Smith. I know Jalen wanted to be here today, and Charlie wanted to be here, but both of them were unable to attend, being out of town. I have talked with each one of these individuals every day, and they've always answered the phone call and done everything to work with me in this process. I also want to thank Frank White, the executive office, for what they accomplished during the negotiation process when they were still participating. Last but not least, I want to thank the members of my board, Pastor John Miles, who pastors here. Pastor, can you stand up? Pastor is the longest lasting commissioner we've had on the Sports Authority. He's been a very big part in making sure that the leases get signed today so that the voters have a chance to vote on this on the 3rd. I also want to thank Brad Scott, Mark Brennemeyer, John Mulvihill, and our executive director, Jim Rowland, for their professionalism, for working through this process, and for giving me great latitude in making decisions on behalf of the authority during this process. Finally, I want to thank the citizens of Jackson County for being patient over the last year as we work through this process. The citizens of Jackson County are the winners in these negotiations. In diligently working through the process, we've been able to ensure that a small market like Kansas City will retain 2 professional franchises. The goal of the authority and teams has always been to keep the teams in Jackson County operating in first-rate facilities, allowing the Chiefs and Royals to continue being positive contributors to our community. The new leases, combined with the positive outcome at the ballot box next Tuesday, will make it a reality for the next 4 decades. Once again, thanks for coming. And you want to sign the leases now, Jim, or how do you want to do it?
go ahead and open it up to questions.
There we go. We've been very consistent all along. 25-year lease on a building that's already 50 years old, going to be 60 years old by the time we get going here, is the right thing to do. We reached agreement on that. It's important to note that we also agreed to 3 5-year extensions, so that would take it to 40 years if we're able to exercise those extensions.
Our lease is for the stadium in Jackson County, and so that's how it's written. That's how it was going forward with that. You know exactly what our expectation is and what we're working to do with our Crossroads location. So that's our full expectation. For the demolition of Kaufman, we're going to be spending a lot of private money on the stadium and the development, and so we will be using our own money for a lot of this. So we blend that in together with the total cost. I would expect. I look at it as all together. I mean, this is demolition, construction. It'll all be together. So there'll be private funds, public funds. We haven't delineated how we would view that, but it will be team funds that will demolish Kaufman Stadium.
Yeah, I think we've reached agreement in our letter of intent and in everything we've done that this is on us. So the demolition will be on us.
You're referring to keeping Oak Street open? Yeah, I mean, what we've done is agreed that Oak Street, we've listened to the community, to Crossroads business owners, to the community in general, to elected officials, that they view Oak Street being open is something that they very much want. And so I think that's what that reflects, is that Oak Street would be open for automobile traffic, bicycle traffic, pedestrians. That's what that entails. I'm not sure if I don't know if I followed the whole question. What we've said all along is we'll be putting in a lot of ownership money into our development. We look at that development as $1 billion there, and we'll be also putting in hundreds of millions into the stadium. We're still at work negotiating and speaking with both the state and the city on the funding that'll go along with the sales tax funding. So those are a little bit to be determined, but we're working hard every day to round out all the financing.
Which rent are you speaking? The rent that we're obligated to pay in the agreement? That's our rent to the county for the use of the building.
A fund, I mean, it's a really complicated financial instrument, but the sales tax flows into a fund, the rent flows into a fund, and in the end, it kind of waterfalls out to the different bond payment, et cetera. So it's just one of the pieces of the puzzle to financing this entire transaction.
You guys talked about how it's been a process to get to this point. Is there anything you would change how you went about things with the county?
I think all of these situations are very complex and can create a lot of passion on all sides. I think what the Jackson County taxpayers should know is that they are represented by the Jackson County Sports Authority. That's the way it's always been. They've done a great job of protecting the interests of Jackson County. When you're in this process, or in a process like this, one thing that gets you through the toughest days, and there are tough days because it's complicated, is we're both committed to the same thing. Like, we're trying to enhance the experience of our taxpayers and our fans in this county. And we have these two assets that can do that. And now we've created a way where we'll have this beautiful building here for the next 25 years and hopefully longer. And we'll have a brand new building downtown that will do the same thing for 40 years. So as you go through that process, it's important that you have two sides that are committed to the same thing. Sometimes you've got to get through the differences on how we get there. But what I'm excited about is today we're sitting in front of you having signed an agreement that guarantees that going forward. The next step and the time is now for April 2nd and voting yes on number one so we can actually engage and execute on these agreements.
I would echo that and refer to the 50-plus year partnership that the Chiefs and Royals have had with Jackson County. And as we got into this process, we felt that was what needed to do. We needed to work hard to get this accomplished, keep these teams here for the long term. And that's what we did. And I think that goes back to the days of Lamar Hunt and Ewing Kaufman, whose idea it was to begin this and built this great partnership. And so we had to go through the work to ensure that we got it done right. And thanks, to the Jackson County Sports Complex Authority, the legislators, we were able to do that and look forward to the future ahead.
Brooks, I know the news of Oak Street's rather new, right? And I just wondered if you all consider with the impact of a little less space now, how that kind of figures into the ballpark plan for GS.
When we look at that, the good news is we've got a great group helping us there with Populous, and this is their hometown too, so I think that's one you can say for sure that this will be done right. They know that this is their hometown and this is their hometown baseball stadium. So it'll be done right, and we can certainly accomplish a great stadium by keeping Oak Street open, or we would have had to have done something different. So we're confident of that, and we'll move forward from there and get the plans further along.
As I understand it, the leases are contingent on a yes vote on April 2nd, so how important are the next few days to get to that point?
Yeah, critically important. I think, it highlights what we've been saying pretty consistently, that we're gonna come to an agreement on a historic CBA, which is gonna be the best CBA in the history of this town. We've said also that we are going to agree to a lease extension, which will be a much better lease extension for Jackson County and for Jackson County residents, and we've done that today. We've also agreed, contingent on this, to a $200 million concession to the county as part of the lease. We've also committed to that $266 million in CBA money. And now it's really time to take action and vote yes on April 2nd and then move to the next stage of this.
And we're looking forward for the Royals to tomorrow. We want opening day. It's going to be a great day. We're looking for great success there as a prelude to a yes on April 2nd. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sarah Tourville in the room here is integral to what we're doing at the Royals toward every effort of this, and she will continue to be alongside all of us here for the Royals and the Chiefs to see this move ahead. So there's a lot of work to do, and we are pushing hard and looking very forward to April 2nd and a yes.
Just real quick, we will get the executed documents will be up on our website. As soon as we can get back, scan them and upload them to the web. So they'll be up soon.